Resist. Resist by maintaining sovereignty of the self. Resist by maintaining love of the self. Resist by maintaining fierce loyalty to love and pleasure. Resist with acts of radical kindness. Focus on the path to better times.
Hey, what's up? This is Luxa. It is the 19th of July. That's wrong. Let me try that again. This is not what day it is. Okay, let's try that again. Hey, what's up? This is Luxa. It is the 9th of July at 7:19 p.m. and I am here with Miguel and Dave from Unearthing Paranormalcy, and we are here to talk about the Astral Cache experiment. How's it going, guys?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Hell yeah. Doing good. Well, so this week it was Miguel and I leaving items for each other in the temple, and Dave was moderating.
It's true.
So, do you want to go first, Miguel, or do you want me to go first in terms of like what impressions we found of what the other person might have left?
I can go first.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I went, I looked for it right after I put my item in the temple. And I looked around and several different items. I should have written it down because I don't remember what they were, but they didn't feel like it. It just felt like things other people left at the altar in the Astral Temple. Because I just went into the Astral Temple through the door and the sandwich to the Guardian, as usual. And what I ended up pulling out that really felt right to me was an athame. And I got the feeling from it that it may not actually be, like what you left may not actually be an athame, but it might be a magical utensil. And it just seemed to appear to me as an athame, as an item, like a wand or something I would normally use in my magical practice. So something to help me along with that is the sense I got out of it. That was about it. The main focus thing was figuring out and making what I left. That's what took the most time. But what I got out was that.
Hell yeah. So when I went into like the common area, and I saw like on one of the tables like a sort of like dome, like a specimen dome sort of, or like maybe like it's kind of like, if you're not familiar, like a specimen dome is kind of like one of those things that you would put over like a cake too. It's kind of like a cake dome. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
like a glass dome thingy. I saw something kind of like that, and like inside it there was like a light shining, and the light itself looked like it was like a star, but it was like a star like ornament sort of a thing. Like it was like very pointy. It had like very pointy sharp edges. It looked like the edges like on the like long side of it, like the y-axis were like longer than the ones like going side to side on like the z-axis. And it was like shining a bright light that seemed to be sort of like refracting and like causing little like rainbows, like little prismy rainbows on the wall. And this is actually something that I've seen before in this experiment, like when looking for items, like these little like rainbow flashes have sometimes been indicative of the item. At least that's how it seems. So yeah, that is. Also, I do want to note that when I went to the temple, I did notice a kind of like a kitchen adjacent area. It wasn't exactly like a kitchen, but it was kind of like a kitchen. And it seemed like there was like supplies there like set up for like brewing, and I got the sense that there was like, you know, pastries and bread and shit like that. I have been dieting, so I wonder how much that has to do with it, that these things are manifesting for me here on the astral plane. But yes, there you have it.
Did you have any comments, Dave, or you want me to just go ahead and say what I left?
I mean, I think it's pretty fascinating Because I already know, like y'all don't. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of
You just get to sit there. It's like,
Well, since you're in a unique position to comment now, so like what before we reveal, do you have any like any comments about what we left each other or anything like that?
I think it's very fascinating, kind of the reversals of the things almost.
huh,
Okay, interesting.
that's interesting. Yeah. So, literally, what I did was I transferred something from my real life and made an astral version of it and put it in the temple. I had an obsidian stone that I've had in my pocket for a while that I use for protection. So I took that and I visualized it and meditated on it. And the actual form of it that I made had the Green Mushroom Project sigil on emblazoned on the front of it. And I just did a deep meditation to make it real in the Astral Temple and placed it on the altar. And that was the main thing, but also it's unique. It has a little more sparkle to it. I'm not sure what obsidian normally looks like, but this one has like little gold flecks in it, and it looks pretty cool. And yeah, I put that into the actual form of it, and it had just glowing letters of the Green Mushroom Project on it. And I figured if I make something really simple rather than the slightly elaborate mushroom that I made last time, it might transfer over a little bit easier, you know?
No, that's dope though. I love that. I love obsidian. I want to have this object in real life now. That's very dope. Hell yeah. I love it. Very cool. So this is like a protective kind of a talisman. You said that you use the
Yes.
obsidian for protection and okay,
Yes.
cool. Well, thank you. I love it. That's very cool. Okay, so the thing that I left for you is kind of inspired by something from a fantasy series that I really like. But it was a cloak.
Hmm.
And I got the idea that this was like maybe like a wanderer's cloak, although I don't really know exactly where I came up with that name. I'm sure it was probably from one of the many fantasy series I've read along the way. But
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is like a kind of a thing where like, you know, it will provide protection from like the rain and the wind and the cold and like the heat of the sun, but it also has like the ability to sort of like allow you to walk unnoticed, which is its
Okay.
like own kind of protection. Um, and there, I also made sure there was like a lot of pockets in it because that's very important.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a it's kind of like it's almost kind of like the elven cloaks from Lord of the Rings too, in a way. I think that that
Okay.
was an attribute that those cloaks had also, is that they would
Awesome.
disguise you a little bit.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It makes you easy to pass over. Easy to ignore. That's cool. So
So,
is that just like the elven cloaks? They're kind of like naturally magical, or is it just designed that way and it's not meant to be magical? It's just like an incognito cloak that you might find in real life.
oh, I mean, I thought that the one I left you would definitely be like magical, right?
Oh,
Like it
okay.
has like
Okay.
the magical property of like being like magically protective. Because
Yeah.
last time you were talking a lot about journeying and stuff, and I was like, well, fuck, a good cloak is a must for that, right?
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Man, that's great. Yeah.
All right, hell yeah. Well, we didn't get too close, I don't think. Although I do feel that like you know, the athame is a protective item.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
so
is a
that's
protective magical item. You know, it's just not the same form as what you
sure.
left.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
that makes sense. So good.
I found the reversals absolutely fascinating. Like the cloak gives out magical energy, while the athame directs magical energy, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then along with the obsidian versus the star, you know, the star represents the upper currents, the solar current and stuff, radiating in all colors, while the obsidian, you know, is black in color. And it literally comes from the secret fire of the earth, from magma and volcanoes.
Yeah, fuck
Wow.
yeah. No, totally. That is interesting.
That is interesting. Because like both of them are almost opposites, almost direct.
Yeah.
You know.
As above, so below.
Yeah. I didn't know my mushroom cast a spell when I put it there, but I guess so.
Well, yeah, no, I do like that. There, that is actually very kind of cool. Like, even though we were completely off, we were so far off that we were almost
We went to opposites. That's how far we went. Yeah.
Yeah, that there is something fascinating about that, though, for sure. Okay,
Yeah.
well, another interesting round of this stuff. So next time it's gonna be me and Dave leaving stuff, and Miguel, you'll be the moderator?
That sounds good to me.
All right, hell yeah. Well, looking
good.
forward to continuing this. Does anybody have any last thoughts or anything?
Oh, I did, in my meditation creating the obsidian stone, run into the green mushroom goddess, or whatever you want to call it.
Oh, really? Okay, cool. Yes, several people have reported experiences with kind
With
of a
that
person
or
there. Yeah.
entity. Yeah.
Cool.
So that was
Do you want
interesting.
to? Yeah. Do you want to tell us what that was like, or?
It was fine. It was just, she's always like a loving, nurturing kind of presence. So that's always good. And she just helped me to make my item, to make it more realistic, and to kind of just be like, break down my constant skepticism that I have of just like, what am I doing? And just be like, no, just go with it, and if you believe it'll work,
Hell yeah.
And that was encouraging and pretty good, pretty insightful for me, of just being like, no, even though I'm not new at this, I still have some things to work out to get good at it. So yeah.
That's dope, dude. Yeah. I mean, and I feel what you're saying about constant skepticism. Like, I think that's definitely a thing for me, but it's kind of like a fun balancing act that I just do, right? And I think it's it's good to be skeptical. I really do. I think it's important to like maintain that balance for sure. So
yeah. It definitely is, and I don't want to let go of the skepticism and just believe everything that pops into my mind. But it's a good balance where I want to make sure it also doesn't hinder me from doing things.
Yeah, no, absolutely, dude. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, that was it for me.
Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me, and I look forward to continuing this experiment.
Okay. No, thank you for having me. Yeah, it was pretty fun.
Thank you for having me. I look forward to getting back into it next week.
Hell yeah, sounds good. All right. Astral Temple Experiments is part of the Green Mushroom Podcast Network. To hear more great independent productions like the one you just listened to, visit our catalog at tgmpodcastnetwork.com.